Good morning and welcome to Tailor Made on emPOWERme.tv. I'm your host, Brian Rada. What is Tailor Made? Tailor Made is your daily approach to style and fashion as an opportunity for your authentic self-expression. Today, we've got a lot of hot topics coming at you. First, we'll be exploring the wonderful world of Fascinators, a hot new fashion line with a funny name, and luxury sportswear. We are joined today by Lauren Mcquade, who is an online contributor for LA Canvas, a freelance fashion stylist and creative director. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you, Brian. It's very good to be here. Seems like we have a lot to discuss, so why don't we get to it?
Excellent. Let's jump right in, shall we? Well, yesterday was a real fun day. It was the Melbourne Cup, and this is an opportunity for all the ladies to show off their Fascinators. I didn't even know that's what you're calling those fun little things that originated from Great Britain, but they call them Fascinators. They're super fun, and we had some quite lavish ones. There's a new concept out there in the Fascinator world. It's called the pancake hat. One of the originators of Fascinators, one of the biggest designers of these, is Philip Tracy, and which you'll see here, Kate Middleton, now the Duchess of Cambridge. I'm not sure what you call her anymore. Do you have any thoughts on that? What you would call her right now, Lauren?
You know what? I don't know, but I would love to ask the audience that question because I feel like I never know.
Okay, great. Well, I like to call her the Duchess of Cambridge, but she's obviously one of the, I think, biggest style icons in the world right now, and she's made Fascinators because of her, huge popularity in the media, a real mainstream thing. So you're seeing this transition across Australia and the Americas. We have Dita Von Teese here rocking it out, going a little bizarre here. We'll get back to her in a minute. The second one we have is Coco Rocha, who is a female fashion model. And then we have Princess Letizia of Spain. She's also rocking out the pancake side hat. So let's get back to Dita Von Teese. So Dita Von Teese is wearing these orchids. She's completely bringing the jungle to her here. Is this too much? Because we see the Fascinator as a pancake, half of her, it's like her head's being cut in half and the other half looks like a jungle's coming out of it. I don't think this necessarily works for me, only because of the side brooch here. She's got the orchids coming out off of her lapel. It's a little too much orchid for me. It's just too much. And I generally like what Dita Von Teese is. She looks very put together, very crisp, but is it verging on the edge of, cheekiness? Do you have any thoughts on that, Lauren?
Well, just in terms of Dita Von Teese, I really feel like she can do no wrong anyway. But I do think she might have overdone it in the orchid department. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit too much spilling onto her shoulder. Maybe she could have reeled it back a little bit. Who's to say?
Okay, got it. Well, there was another contender for Best Fascinator. There was a separate event happening down the street from the Melbourne Cup. It was called the Square Cup Challenge, and Katy Perry rocked it out here. This is another example. I just found this image. This is obviously from the 2011 Music Video Awards. But I just think when a Fascinator comes to putting a cube on your head, maybe it's time to maybe tone it down a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on that, Lauren? Do you like the cube on Katy Perry's head?
I don't know. I feel so indifferent about Katy Perry as it is. But you know what? I feel like if she's going to put a cube on her head, more power to her. You know what I mean? She can rock it.
Okay, great. Well, before we move on to our next segment, I think this is a perfect time to thank one of the sponsors of emPOWERme.tv, Kanye Flowers. They sell lovely orchids coming out of Hawaii, and you can follow them and find them at kayeflowers.com. All right, moving on. So next up, we have one of a really fun new fashion brand. I was checking my email yesterday, and in came my inbox. I subscribe to a local store here called Opening Ceremony. I believe there's also an opening ceremony in New York. They have 2 flagship stores. It's a really cool store for designers from Europe, Japan. They tend to be a little bit on the high end in terms of their point value, but what came in my inbox was them celebrating one of their new brands that they're sharing, and the name of the brand is called wait for it. Actually, I want to show the images first. First off, we have this lovely woman wearing a furry jacket. What are your thoughts on this image, Lauren?
Well, I love that jacket. I think that jacket is amazing. I would wear it all year round. In fact, I was actually in New York a couple months back, and I saw a girl right at the beginning of the hot New York season, and she was wearing this jacket in 80-degree weather with a pair of Nike Flyknits, and it was the coolest outfit I've seen. And we sort of made eyes at each other and gave each other a little glance, like fashion props. I don't know if you guys know out there if you do that, but yeah, definitely I'm into this look. It's so 70s, it's so cool, I love it.
Next up we have a sweater here. It's I'm a luxury sweater. This is another kind of interesting fun. We're seeing a lot of images right now in clothing with sayings on them, but at a higher level. I'm a luxury. Moving on here, another item from this. This is jeans as a sweater, or as you call that a vest, a jean vest, and a long skirt. There's a bit of conservatism here. And then the final image. It's a long skirt that looks like, I actually grew up in Northern California, and I went to school with a bunch of Mormons. Jean skirts in the Mormon community is very big, and I think, this is an homage to Mormonism here for me when I saw that. That's what I thought of. But you'll never guess what the name of this company is. Do you have any idea what it's called, Lauren?
Well, I do. It's called Walk of Shame.
It is. The name of the brand is called Walk of Shame. And that's why I wanted to talk about this brand. It's not so much that the clothes are so, cutting edge, although I do think they're unique and I think they're very valuable, but they're very high end, they're very sophisticated, but then they named the brand of their company Walk of Shame. For somebody, myself personally, who's dealt with a lot of shame issues in many areas of my life, when I hear the word shame, I have a negative reaction. And so for somebody to name their brand Walk of Shame, I feel it really can polarize people, and I almost wouldn't want to purchase anything from that brand because it's called that. And as we all know, what a walk of shame is, you know what that implies. And yet when I see the brand, I see it's very sophisticated and high end. So are they just being cheeky? Are they trying to polarize their customers? Are they just trying to, grab you because there's so much competition in the marketplace? And what does it say about our culture when a brand is naming their clothing line Walk of Shame? Lauren, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I have a couple thoughts of what it probably could be is, well, first of all, it's really hard to come up with a good name these days because everything is taken. So, maybe it's partly that, but I also think maybe it could be, since their clothes are a little bit more on the conservative side, maybe it's a point of juxtaposition, if you will, pointing out that maybe they're not putting out clothes that maybe Miley Cyrus would wear, because that is so big right now, is sort of an over-sexualization of fashion. So maybe they're sort of reeling it back a little bit, and the name sort of points that out.
But if I'm a 16, 18-year-old female, and I really like the clothing, and then I dig into what Walk of Shame means, is that something that becomes aspirational? Like I want to live into, having my own Walk of Shame on one night, wearing their clothing. There's a lot of innuendo there. So I just like, it's really interesting, how this company decided to go with that name. And, I think it's controversial. All right, moving on. Next up, so as I mentioned, Lauren is from LA Canvas. She's an online contributor there, and they're obviously focusing, one of their main focuses is more urban sartorial work. They're on the streets, and we have some really, really great images here. Luxury wear is really hot right now. It's impossible to avoid streetwear in the fashion right now. It's everywhere. There are 3 people getting it to practice it in the most visible realms of fashion influence: the blogger, the model, and the celebrity. So first up here, we have Jane Min. She is a LA fashion blogger, and she's a really great example of luxury sportswear. So, what are your thoughts on this, Lauren? Do you think, and both of these images here?
Yeah, well, I personally love Jane Min. She is sort of like the tomboy's messiah, if you will. She is for the girl who wants to be girly, who wants to be feminine, but doesn't always want to wear dresses and pink and whatever, those typical girly things. So she's sort of like the tomboy savant. So I look to her because she does a really good job blending luxury brands. Like her favorite is Celine, and she blends them with, you know, Vans, Nike. She wears Timberland boots. You know, she does a really good job of making expensive brands look really cool and fresh, and she does it in a way that I think a lot of girls can relate to.
Got it. Got it. Next up, we have model Adrienne Ho, who's putting a stamp on the fashion world because she's only exclusively modeling in the sports gear category, you know, in sportswear, luxury sportswear. She's really elegant and sophisticated, but she's really going street, really going urban here. Here we have 3 different images of her in a fashion shoot. The next image you'll see, she's standing by a truck. She's obviously a gorgeous girl, but she will not work in any other genre other than the sports luxury gear. So I find that also real fascinating. You know, what does that say? You know, if you get that popular, you can dictate, this is my brand, this is my niche, I only want to play in the sportswear category. I think it's, you know, kudos to her to knowing who she is and what she wants to represent. Do you have any thoughts on that, Lauren?
Yeah, well, a big part about streetwear in general is the ability for you, as whether you're a man or a woman, girl, boy, any gender can wear pieces from the strictly men's or women's line. So it's sort of nice to have the ability to look great in menswear and to look as beautiful as Adrienne Ho does in menswear. So that's sort of given her the opportunity to be an exclusively streetwear model because she is able to wear those androgynous looks and make them look sexy. And that's really hard to do.
Got it. Got it. So do you think that the androgynous look as well as streetwear is something that's trending out there in the streets right now?
Oh gosh, yes. Like I don't know. I need to do more research on where exactly it came from, but it goes back all the way to YSL. Putting women in suits is sexy. And now that we're getting into, you know, streetwear as big as it is now, it's just like everything is androgynous from what I've been seeing. And, you know, not everyone is into it, obviously. So there is a lot of, you know, variation within that. But I have seen so many more androgynous looks out there, and I personally love it.
Got it. Well, our final image here in the luxury streetwear category is of Mr. Kanye West, often called the king of streetwear. Here we see 2 different images of him, you know, mixing again the low end with the high end, with a big furry jacket on the left there, and, you know, his sneaks. So I think Kanye here is another example of what luxury and street mixed together can be. Do you have any thoughts on these images, Lauren? Yeah,
well, Kanye West, however you feel about him, you know, love or hate, he knows how to dress, and you have to give it to the guy. Like, he always looks great, and him being able to put a gray hoodie with leather pants, you know, it's cool. It's always going to be cool.
Got it. Got it. Well, luxury streetwear, it's out there, it's trending. That's what's happening today in the world of fashion. Before we wrap up, I asked each of our guest bloggers to bring something special that it means something important to them, that, you know, their favorite piece of clothing. It could be earrings, could be shoes, could be whatever it is. So this segment we're calling Below the Feather Boa. And underneath my desk here, we have Lauren's item that she brought in. I don't know what it is. It's like Christmas every day here. Oh, look at this. This is very fun.
That is my favorite piece right now.
Really?
In my wardrobe.
Okay. So let's talk about it. This is a scarf.
It is a silk scarf in a fabric that reminds me of an old lady, a rich old woman, and that's why I like it.
A rich old woman.
Yes, and I've been wearing it with everything. I would wear it with this outfit here. I would just put it around my neck as a collar piece. And I also used it for one of the shoots I did for LA Canvas as like a head wrap.
Yenta.
I mixed it with streetwear, a streetwear brand called Up and Under. I had a baseball jersey with it, and it looked awesome.
I know you're a big fan of plaid, so I think this is an example of that.
Right.
And what is this detailing here on the edges, this gold edging?
I don't know. Awesome. It's amazing.
It's a very sophisticated. I see a woman in New York. This is interesting because plaid is not necessarily my favorite thing, but I see that this with the detailing here on the gold, it really makes it look like it brings it up a notch, and also because of the fabric that it's silk. Yeah, you could wear this anywhere, you know, whether day or night. I think it could always class it up. And I always think scarves are a good way to go. They take something from very, mundane to a little more sophisticated, don't you?
That's right. Keep it classy.
Keep it classy, people. Keep it classy. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Tailor Made on emPOWERme.tv. You can follow the show at TailorMadeBrian. We will see you again here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until then, continue to approach style and fashion as an opportunity for your authentic self-expression.